if the Canon EOS R5 Mark II doesn't come with a stacked sensor, or a backside illuminated sensor at the very least, is it dead on arrival? Some say yes. Stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, it really does help this channel grow, and it keeps you up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Just a few days ago, I put out a poll on your desired resolution for the upcoming Canon EOS R5 Mark II. A combined 49% wanted either 45 megapixels or 50 megapixels, while 47% wanted 60 megapixels. I was a little bit surprised by the results. Essentially, an even split between 45 and 50 megapixels and 60 megapixels. I'm kind of in the camp of 45 to 50 because, well, it's kind of all I need, being selfish. But I'm also, if I'm honest, a little bit ignorant here. I've never shot with 60 megapixels. I don't know what it's like. I kind of thought that 8K video was a waste of time and money in putting those resources and capabilities into a camera, until of course I shot in 8K, and then, boy, was I pleasantly surprised. So I'm not saying that I won't enjoy and maybe think that 60 megapixels is terrific, but it did leave me wondering one thing. Okay, so that one poll kind of let us know that people definitely want to see 60 megapixels in the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, so that left me wondering about the sensor type. So I went ahead and conducted another poll. I asked, what sensor type should the EOS R5 Mark II get? An overwhelming 72% wanted to see a stacked sensor in the EOS R5 Mark II, with only 24% wanting a backside illuminated sensor, and what could be considered a margin of error here, 3% wanting neither a stacked or backside illuminated sensor. I know what you're thinking, at least I'm pretty sure I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Simon, come on, look at the name of your channel. It's called The Ordinary Filmmaker. Most of the people watching, most of the viewers, they're not photographers like me, they're videographers. Well, you might be surprised. I conducted another poll and take a look at this. 53% identified as a photographer first, with a distant 13% identifying solely as a videographer, and 34% identifying as both. Surprised? I must admit I'm a little bit surprised myself that 50% of you want a 60 megapixel sensor in the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, and an overwhelming majority of you, some 87%, want to see a sensor that at the very least is backside illuminated, but preferably would like a stacked sensor. So why such an overwhelming demand for a 60 megapixel sensor, and at the very least a backside illuminated sensor, although a stacked being preferable? Well, I can give you two reasons. The first reason is the Sony a7 R5, announced in late October and going on sale shortly thereafter, a 61 megapixel sensor that is backside illuminated. And then just announced in May, on May the 10th, we have the Nikon Z8 with its 45 megapixel stacked sensor. But why? Why do we care if the Canon EOS R5 Mark II has a stacked sensor versus a BSI sensor versus neither of the above? Besides the Nikon Z8 having a stacked sensor and the Sony a7 R5 having a backside illuminated sensor, what are the actual benefits to us as videographers and photographers? Is it just really marketing mush that's kind of getting everybody worked up and saying, I must have a backside illuminated sensor, I must have a stacked sensor, Nikon's got it, we have to have it, or the camera's crap, right? No, I don't think so. Let me break down the technical side of this for you. And forgive me because this is going to get a little bit technical. Backside illuminated sensors, or BSI sensors, place all the circuitry and the wiring behind the light-sensitive part of the pixel. So rather than the circuitry getting in the way, it allows more light to pass through, therefore reducing noise. Stacked sensors consist of a pixel chip made up of backside illuminated pixels that are then stacked on top of the logic chip, where signal processing circuits are formed, thereby greatly improving the throughput rate of data, which helps reduce rolling shutter, and the saturation signal level is increased, providing higher image quality with wider dynamic range. So the end result? Well, if you've got a backside illuminated sensor, you have more light coming through, so less noise, and you have better low light performance. But with a stacked sensor, you get that, plus more, you get better dynamic range. You're able to push through an awful lot more data, and therefore also reduce rolling shutter. So to have better image quality, better low light performance, better dynamic range, and the Nikon Z8 has that with their stacked sensor chip in the Nikon Z8 as well as the Nikon Z9, I could understand Canon customers saying, yeah, you know what, at the very least, we want a backside illuminated sensor, but you better give us a stacked sensor because that's what the competition has. And to be able to give us 60 megapixels, backside illuminated, stacked CMOS full frame sensor in the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, that'll be impressive. And because the Canon EOS R5 Mark II is not using CF Express Type A, but CF Express Type B, that means with the current Gen 3 technology, we can sustain maximum sustained write speeds of around 1,480 megabytes per second. So I'm pretty sure that the Canon EOS R5 Mark II with 60 megapixels and a stacked sensor will be able to quite easily handle much more than the 10 frames per second from the Sony A7 R5. And I wouldn't be surprised if it could do 20 frames per second electronic on the EOS R5 Mark II. And who knows what the R1 will be able to do. Now, there is one thing to kind of pay attention to or watch out for. I'm talking about Gen 3 NVMe CF Express cards with Type B, that's 2 PCIe lanes. If we get the approval to move towards Gen 4, that essentially doubles the throughput speed. So instead of having a ceiling of around, theoretically, 1.6 to 1.7, okay, theoretically you can go to about 2, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to get 2 gigabytes per second. With the best of technology, we might be looking at about 1.6, 1.8, but when it comes to Gen 4, you're doubling that, allowing yourself to get to a maximum of 3.6 gigabytes per second, maximum sustained write speed. So that allows Canon to go a whole lot further, as well as Nikon, to push a whole lot more data through. So you're starting off with a sensor that's going to be stacked. You've got a fast image processor. You've got CF Express Type B. And then if eventually we go to Gen 4, the sky's the limit. But we don't have any leaked specifications or even any rumors right now pointing towards the type of storage on the Canon EOS R5. At the very least, it's going to have one CF Express Type B card. I'm not hopeful for 2, and the reason being, look at the EOS R3 for $5,500. It only has 1 CF Express Type B card slot, although I'm pretty sure the feedback from a lot of the people were saying, Canon, knock this off, give us dual CF Express Type B cards. I mean, Canon can always play around with the buffer speed on the R5 so it doesn't perform like the R1, the 1DX Mark III, or even the R3, so there's no need to play around here. So I'm really hoping for dual CF Express Type B cards. It would be nice if the camera supports Gen 4. That would be really awesome. But I'm not going to get too excited. So right now, the latest rumors on the Canon EOS R5 is that it's going to have a 60 megapixel sensor. No mention of whether it's stacked or BSI. Let me know what you think the Canon EOS R5 is going to have in the comment section down below. Is it going to have a stacked sensor? Will it be 60 megapixels? And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news and rumors regarding the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, then go ahead and subscribe, because I get a sense as we move into August, things are going to start to heat up. We're going to get a lot more rumors. So by clicking on subscribing and choosing all notifications, that way as soon as I publish a new video, you can stay up to date on the latest camera gear news and rumors. And if you want to stay up to date on all the minor news and rumors or terrific pricing that comes out, then go ahead and follow me on Twitter, because sometimes I release up to 3 or 4, sometimes even 7 tweets a day saying, hey, look, we got a great deal on a Samsung monitor for editing. We got the Canon EOS R5 for $850 off. Deals on Panasonic, Sony. I cover all the major camera brands and all the major accessory manufacturers out there. So please subscribe. It really helps this channel. And follow me on Twitter for all the latest information. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great day. Have yourself a great weekend. And we'll see you again soon. Tell me I'm recording audio. Oh, that's good.